Hey guys, how you doing? jpsarrireviews here, and finally, I had the chance to watch Peacemaker. That was a show that I was trying to avoid as much as I could because, as many of you know, I'm not a fan of the Suicide Squad. It was a big disappointment for me last year. It was a movie that I was expecting a lot, and for me, it didn't work out so good. So when they announced Peacemaker, I was like, I don't think it's good because I wasn't even crazy about the character on the Suicide Squad. So I said, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to watch it. But a lot of friends of the channel, they came and they said, JP, you need to give it a chance. It's not a bad show. Actually, you're going to like it. And now I can finally tell you what I think about it, the good and the bad. So in the next couple of minutes, stay tuned. They're good. The first thing that I want to tell you that I really fell in love with the show. At first I wasn't, but then I said, you know what, this is kind of cool. Is the intro. At the beginning, I was like, what the heck? You know, as soon as I saw on the first episode, I was like, I don't like it. I don't get it. But then on the second one, I was kind of getting in tune with it. It was kind of catchy, the song and all. And then by then, I was like, by the end, I was like, man, I love the intro. I need to watch it. And to be honest with you, if you haven't watched it, you need to go and watch it on YouTube because it's kind of cool. It's funny. It's crazy. It's out of place, but I think it's in that tone of the show, so it works for good. Another thing that really captivated me about the show, and I think it's in tune also with the intro, is the soundtrack. The soundtrack here is really, really good. One of the best soundtracks that we had perhaps in ever. You know, it's really good. There's a lot of, if you're a fan of rock music, from, you know, classic rock from the 80s and 90s, then definitely you're in the right place. There's a lot of classic music here that is really good. And the best part is that really plays along with the scenes, with the actions happening in the show. It's really good. There are really crazy moments and then the music comes in and it really works good. But besides the intro and the music, which really add style to the show, I think the most important part of what we're looking for is the substance. So we're looking for the acting. We're looking for the plot, for the story. And I will tell you, I was surprised on this show. And primarily I was surprised with John Cena. I gotta be honest with you, I've never been a fan of John Cena. I don't think that he's a good actor, or at least in the past. You know, yeah, he tried hard. He tried to be like Dwayne Johnson. And I'm not gonna tell you that Dwayne Johnson is, oh wow, he's an amazing actor, because he's not. He plays himself in everything he does. And I would say the same thing for John Cena. But to be honest with you, he grew on me on this show. I was like, okay, I can see where he comes from. And I think he really embraced this character. He loves the character. And if you follow him on social media, which I don't, but I've been following lately because of this show, I've seen that he is in love with this. You know, he's in love with the character and portraying the character, even going to interviews carrying, you know, the helmet and the outfit, and he loves it. And I will tell you, he did a phenomenal job here. You know, you can feel the emotions and the reason why he's so messed up. You know, why he does what he does. And it kind of explains a lot of the things that happen, of course, in the Suicide Squad. Now you understand why he's all messed up and the reasons why he goes through life, you know, acting like a child, big child that hasn't grown up. Now, if you're familiar with the Peacemaker, at least from the comics, you know, it's a very obscure character created in Charlton Comics back in the 60s. And then, of course, was acquired then by DC Comics with every character from Charlton Comics. Before that, he was always a hero looking, you know, to do the right thing. In the post-crisis era, he's kind of diving into more of the anti-hero, the crazy cuckoo guy that he is killing people, that he sees, you know, ghosts in his head and all of that, the people that he kills, all of that. So they have done a lot of things to the character. And I will tell you that in so many ways, the show respects kind of that source material, or at least the more recent source material, and it gives more light to the character. And I feel that they, in this case, Gunn and the writers in the show, they were really good in respecting that and really giving you a character that in so many ways reflects the comics. And I know some people may not like that because most people that don't read comics, they think all superheroes are good guys. And that's not the case. They're superheroes that kind of dive into the dark side, and Peacemaker is one of them. I will tell you, the cast was really good in my opinion. I was not expecting much from the cast, but each one of them brings a personality. They're all in many ways broken, and they're all trying to run away from whatever they're trying to run away. And, you know, there's, of course, you know, there's some tropes that it follows, you know, characters that they have an attitude, some characters that are trying to prove themselves, all of that. The one that really I fell in love with, that I felt, man, this was a surprise to me, was Vigilante. Vigilante is technically a guy that follows Peacemaker wherever he goes. He's not necessarily a friend, but he calls, or he thinks it's his mind because he's cuckoo, he's crazy, he's a psychopath. He thinks that Peacemaker is his BFF. He calls him his BFF. But it's so funny. It's really hilarious because he tries to be funny, and the dry humor in this show is all over the place. If you're a fan of dry humor, like from The Office and those type of shows, man, you're gonna love this because in this case, the timing is perfect. And sometimes, there's jokes that actually make no sense. Out of nowhere, somebody comes up with something to say that is so stupid. And you feel like, man, this is stupid. But he plays well. And it really does. It really works with the whole team because it's so bizarre. The whole thing is bizarre. And I don't know. It's good. And Vigilante was in the middle of in many of those situations. And man, he's a killer. He's definitely kills anything that moves if you give him the chance. And the character that for me steals the show is not even a human character, it's a mascot. It's an animal that is a CGI image of a bald eagle. And the name is Eagly. I was in love with the animal. It was like, at every scene, he was saving the Peacemaker, he was helping, he was being nice, and he was even part of the joke. So it was really good. I really like him. I will tell you, I was so surprised about a lot of things with the show. There was, in the characters, each character is very different, very unlikable, but at the same time, because they're so unlikable, you fall in love with them because they are unlikable. It gets to the point that you feel sorry for them. The bad. Now it's time to talk about the bad. And yes, there are things in this show that are not perfect, and I need to point that out. And I will tell you, one of them is going back to the humor. Yes, because humor can be divisive. Some people love dry humor, some people don't like dry humor, and that's just a given. You cannot please everyone. Also, there is the raunchy humor. There is a humor that is vulgar. And if you're a fan of that type of humor, you're gonna, right away, you're gonna fall in love with it. But if you're not, then definitely you're gonna find a lot of things here that you're gonna find them tasteless. You're gonna find that, oh man, this is not something that I wanna see or wanna hear. And this show has tons of that type of comedy. And sometimes he can go overboard with the comedy and the commentary and a lot of things and the innuendo and all that stuff. It does have it, and I will say partial to it in some ways. I kind of understand it, but at the same time, I feel like, man, it's going overboard. I like the dry humor, but then they go too far into the humor, and I will I would say that that's not necessarily me or what I prefer. Of course, everyone is different. Also, there's excessive mature language. There is so many F words. Sometimes every sentence has different combinations of the F word. There's so much to it, to the point that he kind of takes me out of the experience because, I have no problem with people using foul language, because we all do. I even use foul language when I'm really upset. And I can watch films like that. I know some people have a hard time. I know, like my wife, she has a hard time watching this type of movies or shows because if they go excessive, she turns the TV off or she walks away. She doesn't like that. So this is the type of show that is for a specific audience, an audience that is able to really eat that or swallow this type of conversation and have no fault with it or problem with it because it goes overboard. Another thing, besides the stuff that I just mentioned, that, to try to get out of the way, for some people, that's not a big deal. So I totally understand. Some people have a problem with that and they will point that out first. But I will tell you another thing for me from the technical standpoint, I feel that everything with the pacing, everything goes really fast. Of course, there are only 8 episodes in this series, something that now it seems that shows they're trying to reduce the number so the pacing doesn't feel as uneven. So everything happens really fast. And as much as I like the idea of having a fast show that I can watch from beginning to end, a story like that, at the same time, I feel that there are opportunities that you miss or you can expand in the story of some characters and you don't get the chance. So you have to pretty much accommodate only into 8 episodes. So I feel that a couple of things happen so fast. Some lines of the story that I feel I want to know more about this, and all of a sudden the character is taken out of the picture. Situations like that, or a character changes his or her mind very quickly. And all of a sudden, what was the motivation behind it? So I feel that those are the things from the technical standpoint that you feel like, okay, I want to get more insight. I want to know more. And of course, you can argue that, of course, that's going to be added into the second season, which has already been announced. But at the same time, you want to have it on the first season so you can build that foundation for the second season. In conclusion, I'm telling you, I had a good time with this show for the most part. I found it to be more entertaining and more engaging than the Suicide Squad. And of course, it's a TV series, so that means that you get the opportunity to expand on characters. But I was surprised. This is not something that it was on my list to say, oh, I need to watch this in my lifetime. This is something that I need. This character needs to have a movie or a TV show. But to be honest, I'm glad that they did it. I am glad that they did it. John Cena really proved himself on this one. And Gunn, being Gunn the way he is, he can be bizarre, and definitely he used that bit, the way he does things. He's let go here in comparison to what you see with Guardians of the Galaxy that is controlled by Disney and the end and Marvel Studios. Again, it's not for everyone. If you really cannot digest this type of comedy and the language, then definitely don't watch it. So you save yourself the trouble and the heart attack. But if you love it, if you're into that kind of thing, then definitely give it a chance. You might like it even more than I did, or probably less. You never know. It's something that you will have to decide. So I have to give this show a final score in my book. It is an 8 out of 10, which is not bad. It's really good. It's an 8 out of 10. Normally, I don't give 8 out of 10s to shows that really go overboard with this type of humor and the language. But to be honest with you, the way they did it, it's not bad. I'm really looking forward to season 2 to see how they take this, how far they can take it. Hopefully not as worse in the language or the violence, but definitely in the comedy and perhaps into more of the storyline, to know more of the characters and motivations of these characters in an even deeper way. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Your opinion, my friends, what do you think about the show? Do you enjoy it? Have you watched it? You haven't had the chance to watch it? You've been skipping it? Let me know in the comments below. So once again, my friends, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button so you're reminded of the next video. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The links are down below. And please consider supporting the channel financially through Patreon. My friends, God bless you. Take care. I will talk to you again. Bye-bye.